There's an estimated 240 million 911 calls made every day in these United States. And today we're going to meet some of those people who handle these calls. And I'm here with April Mcleary. And we're at the Orange County 911 Center. And today I'm going to spend the day with April as she explains what goes on in the Orange County Emergency Operations Center and how these calls are handled.
They get the calls sent up to them from the 911 operator, and then they're the ones that are dispatching out a deputy, or when a deputy goes on a traffic stop or something along those lines, entering it into the system and tracking their status.
And how long are they?
12-hour shifts.
12-hour shifts?
12-hour shifts. Mm-hmm. Yep. They work a 12-hour shift. They, get their breaks and lunches, obviously.
Right.
But they are sitting there and dealing with that, and they can have anywhere from maybe 5 deputies to sometimes, if it's a high incident, 100 deputies on their channel in their ear at one time.
Amazing. So we're inside the 911 center, and thank you first of all, because this is not we're in Central Florida. It's not a tourist attraction, right?
No,
So this is a big deal for us to be inside of here, and it's I'm honored to be inside of here. But thank you for letting me come in and so this is like you and I have a past.
We do.
Not like a past 40 years in the making. We met a couple years ago now. It's got to be a couple years now.
At least a year
or so.
Yeah.
And I want to talk about, because you're a huge wrestling fan.
I am. Most people wouldn't get that from me.
No, they would not.
Yeah.
You're so serious right now, and I think that's what
I know it's throwing you off.
it's throwing me up, because that smile, that's who I know. Tell me about that. How long have you been here? How long have you been doing this?
I started in 2000. It was kind of like I got paralyzed, taking a year to just basically do me and figure out how to live a life being paralyzed. And then my parents were like, oh look, they're advertising for 911, they need people. So I went, and I didn't know how long I would actually be here, and 15 years later I'm still here. Started entry-level 911 operator, did that for a little over a year, and then I went to be a dispatcher. And being a dispatcher was so much fun. You're on the radio with the deputies, everything is different. So you're getting the calls from the 911 operator, you're dispatching the deputies. I've worked all kinds of incidents, from just, hey, I need someone to stand by while I go pick up my medicine from my house, to calls where deputies unfortunately have been shot. And 200, 300 deputies on the channel at that time. Then 2008, I became an assistant supervisor here, assistant squad leader. I was out on the operational floor, kind of where we were before. And then in the end of 2009, beginning of 2010, I came back to the training unit. So we train everybody from brand new 911 operators to people going to dispatch, people going into our teletype, our supervisors, and we do continuing education. So it's kind of lots of different hats, so to speak.
So it's just not pick up the phone 911 and that's it. There's a lot going on.
There's a lot going on there. Our people have to be certified, so there's a 6-week program to get certified to go and answer the phones, and that's a 3-month process. 4 months to train to be a dispatcher on the end of the radio. So each one, it's a long process.
So you know me, and you followed the Bill DeMott Experience. I talk everything for me is coaches and teaching and following people. So you 15 years now.
15 years.
Here in this facility.
In this facility, absolutely.
So let's go backwards a little bit.
Where do you want to go?
Let's talk about before you were paralyzed. What were you doing? Because this wasn't your your end game.
No.
Was being a dispatcher, right?
No, it was not my end
so
game.
what were you doing? What was the?
So throughout my life, I was always a competitive swimmer. I did water polo and lifeguarding. That was I was outdoors. That was my life, water. And born and raised in Florida. It's kind of the normal pathway that you go. But I was a lifeguard out at Disney, and I got accepted to Florida State. So I was going to go to Florida State. Where that was going to lead me, I didn't know.
Right.
But I ended up getting paralyzed at the age of 19 as we were driving home. A car in the middle of an intersection T-boned, and I've always never been able to sleep in a car. And the one time I fell asleep in a car laying in the back seat, they T-boned where it was literally right on my head. And they said how it didn't snap my neck, they don't know. But if you ask my mom, she'll tell you it's because I'm hard-headed.
So it's that's incredible.
Yeah.
But you don't, you know, that car accident
Mm-hmm.
takes you, fast forward how many years later to you now?
It's literally half of my life was walking, half of my life in a wheelchair.
And
So-
now you're working with first responders and everything, and
Yeah.
do you think that, is there a tie there? I'm a firm believer that everything happens.
I think that if I hadn't been paralyzed, paramedic, or maybe law enforcement, being the police officer or deputy
Right.
sheriff, probably would have been the path that I went towards. Always had the call for service in my world, lifeguarding, you know, and all
Right.
that kind of stuff. And you know, it's kind of like, oh, you're a lifeguard, you sit by a pool. But there's been times where you have to jump in and save someone.
I mean, you have this, when we met, you have this personality that's unbelievable. And nothing, I say with all due respect, because I think the world of you. From day one we met.
Right.
And you draw people in, and I've witnessed it through you're a big supporter of the wrestling here in Florida and NXT and all the gang, and you know, your Instagram is, you know, you support everybody and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And
I'm diverse.
you are diverse because you're so right now. I've got you smiling, which makes me feel better, because when you're serious supervisor, I'm like, oh man, I don't know what to do here. So tell me how wrestling comes into it. What was your?
That was actually childhood. My dad grew up watching Eddie Graham Sports Stadium. He used to go out there, Dusty Rhodes. He would tell stories about Dusty. You know, all the greats that used to go out there. And then once WWE became a thing, traveling down here, which was like unheard of back in like the 80s, late 80s,
Right.
The old arena, we used to go there, and my parents would get us seats, and it didn't matter where we were sitting, it was just tons of fun, but we would go early to watch everyone arrive. And we had one instance where my brother's friend was yelling at the Undertaker behind us. And he's like yelling and cussing back at us and threatening to beat him up, and we're like, that was the best experience. You know, you just had someone yell and say they're gonna beat you up, but it was like, those are the memories you keep. And so it started at a young age. Shawn Michaels, The Rockers, that was kind of what hooked me.
Right.
Which of course
Go figure.
was my age. That was,
Right. Go figure. The long blonde hair and the good-looking guys.
right. So that's kind of what drew me in.
And fast forward.
Yeah.
You got to meet Dusty Rhodes.
I did. That was the. Oh, he was so funny.
You're a diehard fan.
I love it. I do. It's kind of just. It's good to go and I don't do soap operas. I've never been the girl that does soap operas. So it's the soap opera with cute boys.
They're not bad. They're okay.
Yeah.
You know, if you like good-looking young athletes who can do incredible stuff, it's okay. We were on the floor, and you were telling me some of those young women are there 12 hours a day at that desk handling calls. And there's got to be, I think, I was trying to go through it in my head. What's the release?
Well, they have workout equipment here. They have some of them go walk around the building.
Right.
A lot of them, you know, maybe they read. Some of them journal. Me, I'm fortunate. I'm 5'8", so I'm Monday through Friday, and 8-hour shifts, whatever I need to do for the trainees. But for me, I love to go painting. And then I'm very. I have a lot of other things I do to, like concerts.
You're a social butterfly. I follow you on everything. You're a social butterfly. I know what your release is. You're like out there.
I'm like concerts, and I go for experiences. Because life is too short. I've learned that because, I mean, just in the last year alone, 4 hospital visits. I just go for big.
Just go. If you're going to go.
Go big.
Go big. But that's your release, because I know you're everywhere. And you just, you're loving life.
You know, comedy experiences. I went to the Improv, and we saw Rob Schneider. And afterwards, he did kind of a little meet and greet with everybody. And he saw me, and he's like, why are you the last one here? I'm like, I'm the shortest one, kind of just waiting my turn. But, you know, it's just good experiences. I go for that comedy events. go to obviously wrestling events, concerts, and the people watching alone. Is
I'll go with
phenomenal.
people. I'll go spend a day with you at any park
Yeah.
and people watch.
It is hilarious.
We're gonna get kicked out, but we're gonna have fun before. Is it hard to break that? Because I'd imagine you've had a few calls that stay with you.
Okay.
I only say I imagine because this is what you do and I have to know. So the things that are happening are close to home for you.
Yeah.
More so than
Yeah. There was
what people think.
a random drive-by shooting, which turned out to be the father of a guy that I was on swim team with, and so I see the name and I'm like, oh my goodness. Those stick with you because there's a good chance that at some point in your career, if you're local, you're going
You're
to
gonna run into something like
somebody
that.
you know. Absolutely. Yeah, I've a lot of deputies now. Met them. They're kind of like big brother friends and stuff. So, you know, any call that they can go to, come home safe. That's a high risk thing.
Right, right.
Those are like the good calls. Those are the ones that kind of make you feel good.
Because after 15 years, you've trained a few deputies in your day as well.
Yeah, people that have come through here.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we had one. He got, unfortunately, someone ran him over and killed him when he became a deputy. But him up here, when he was a 911 operator, that was the only time my service dog actually bit anybody maliciously. He wanted the teacher to roll over. She wasn't having it. She's like, no. But, you know, so, and then hearing his voice on the radio, that was always pretty cool.
Yeah.
Because it's like, hey, you used to be here with us. And so there's been people that's been their pathway. They started here and decided they wanted a little bit more, so they go out and become deputies.
Have you seen a lot? Is it not? It's not. It can't be for everybody, can it?
It is not.
You know what I mean? You know what I'm getting at? Is
Yeah,
a lot of people come in and
a lot of people, if you don't have
apply for the job.
Absolutely. We get a lot of people that apply and then they realize maybe this isn't the best thing for them because we are in a building and you are taking calls from people and it's not the best day of their life. And so it is hard for some people. I've been fortunate where I have kind of this ability to, if I take, even when I was on the call with the person I knew, his drama wasn't my drama. I know what I need to do to get stuff done, and then at the end of it, I can be like, oh my goodness, that just happened.
Yeah.
And but in the moment, I can stay focused and stuff, and it is hard for a lot of people to come in here and do that. The sheriff's office is great. They have resources for people if you're, level of stress. They have free counseling for people.
Yeah.
There's people on site, supervisors that are trained to kind of help deal with that as well. Yeah.
So now you're getting ready for hopefully a big.
Hoping. We're hoping.
What's your goal?
My goal is to always learn in this job, always try to advance and make myself better. I'm not the type of person that does well staying and being stagnant. I want to learn. I want to, and ultimately, the best thing about this job is all the people I can look back and say, hey, I had a part in training you, and you're here, and you did this, and hey, you did this on this call because we talked about that kind of scenario. So ultimately, it's to grow and keep kind of seeing where on the food chain I can fit in.
And coming through the building,
Mm-hmm.
this doesn't come into play.
Not here, because I've been here, and then a lot of the people that are here came in after I was here, so it's kind of a staple. But in the real world, this really throws people for a loop because they don't know what they're going to get.
Well, because you don't, other than physically seeing you in this
Mhm.
chair,
Right. You don't know.
there's nothing.
Right. Exactly.
We're the same people.
Mm-hmm. Just can't walk.
Anyway,
Just can't walk.
just can't walk. I walk a little funny as it is now, so we're the same.
You're right.
But nothing holds you back is my point. And I think it's so cool, because I've been around the world and I tell you, that's my thing. But you walking through here and people go, hey, it's April. Well, either it's, hey, it's April, my supervisor, or hey, it's April, and not,
Right.
I'm not a big fan of people going, what else can I get you? Because you're pretty independent.
So they bring us in and they sit us around the table and it's a very cold, sterile environment and say, you're never gonna walk again. They're just basically a 19-year-old girl. So get back to the room in the hospital and I just literally am in front of a wall staring at it and bawling. And my brother comes over and he puts his arm around my shoulder. And he goes, April, you saw Forrest Gump. And I look at him and I'm like, what? Because well, Lieutenant Dan had no legs and he learned to walk again. And if, for whatever reason, we just both start cracking up. And from that point on, and with a series of good friends,
Right.
I mean, I had a friend who I didn't know had a brother that was in a wheelchair growing up. And he was someone I lifeguarded with. He was at the hospital every Tuesday or Thursday, depending on how his work and school schedule worked out. And he would take me to places. He's like, okay, we're at this crowded restaurant during lunchtime. Figure out how to get to the table. I'll buy your lunch, but figure out how to get to the table.
Meet me there.
Yeah. Or we would go to a fast food place. He goes, I'm buying your lunch, now figure out how to get it to the table. So.
You just come across like, when we met and going through that performance center, I was like, you know, because initially, well, let me help you. And I go, well, she doesn't need me for anything here, so I'm going to give this.
You're like, I'm not going to remember your name.
Yeah, so you said, call me Wheels, and I went, it's right then I went, like, we were right there. But you can tell your energy is so contagious, and you're like this positive chick, and you draw people to you, and then watching you do this. So I'm inspired.
Thank you.
The story's inspiring. Just you as a person. The fact that you help run a 911 center is a whole different level for me. You've inspired the talent I've worked with and had an opportunity to coach them. Now you're coaching these cats here, and you're
Right.
helping people do these things. So do you go out in the community? Is there community work? Have you thought about it? I say to you, I don't know how you're not by now, and because I know people in similar situations that need your.
And then that's the thing, is that it's hard, because when I got paralyzed, being as stubborn as I was, it's not going to last.
Right.
And then it goes forward.
I'm gonna pressure you. I'm gonna pressure you because you make a hell of a coach.
Thank you.
In life, but I'm just, you're inspiring, and I dig it, and I sat there. So when I reached out to you, you get a little red, but you.
It's like when you hear that, it's kind of like, I'm just me.
It's hard to reach people,
Mm-hmm.
and then it's even to me that's this whole journey all the time, is trying to find someone who reaches people, and sometimes it's in a different manner. So
Right.
you reach people differently. You're just inspiring, and it has nothing to do with your disability.
Right.
So that's why my challenge to you now is you have to go out there with all the other. Listen, you don't have a full plate now.
With everything else.
Yeah, I know you kind of handle some emergencies, and you're kind of training the future of Florida to stay safe. But in your spare time, in between concerts, and
Yeah, I know. Can't even go to concerts anymore.
but it's a great story.
My theory is that if I'm not willing to talk about my story and maybe educate someone, that hey, go up and talk to someone in a wheelchair to figure out what they're about. So doing experiences and meeting people and talking to them.
They get to know you.
Yeah.
That's the same, totally different scenario, but that's the same with me, and that's why I do these, because if they look at it and they go, oh, Bill DeMott, but until you sit and talk
Right.
to that person and that's why I'm like, well, you're the perfect
Yeah.
person to talk to about that, because it's the same. What is it?
It's a stigmatism. Because everything in the media up until recently has always been like the biggest exposure people in wheelchairs got was kind of the NBA telethon. So you don't know kind of what you're going to get, versus now you're seeing commercials with kids and adults in wheelchairs. You're seeing them actually play roles in TV and on movies and stuff. So breaks down the barrier.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
This whole place is awesome, and you're here 8 hours a day.
8 hours a day, 5 days a week. I'm like, yeah, go out and live life. Have fun, go to the concerts. It was just,
I'm a big people watcher.
yeah, it was interesting. So I go. It may not be my thing, but I'll go and sit there.
Try it.
Yeah,
The experience.
absolutely. I go to the DMV, and
Yes.
so I actually had to go into a driving school, and they had to teach me how to drive with hand controls, which I thought would have been difficult, but I think probably because being 19, I hadn't driven for so long.
You drive yourself around.
I do. I have a 2014 Toyota Sienna. I used to have, my two previous cars were Chevy Monte Carlos, but the older I get, I realize that sometimes you want to make life easier on yourself, because in order to do it, I had to take each wheel off, fold the back of the chair, and then recline the seat back and lift it
Right.
over me. So chairs over the years, I've had one that was like 17 pounds. I had one that was 27 pounds. So every day getting in and out of your car, and then if you're running errands, that's a lot. So I have a 2014 Sienna, has hydraulics that kind of lower it. They call it kneeling.
Right.
A ramp and a little pulley thing. So I go in there, lock my chair in, and then it's like a swivel captain seat, and then I get in,
Really?
transfer. Makes my life easier.
All hand controls?
Hand controls, absolutely. You accelerate by the thing going down. You brake by pushing it towards the dashboard, and then you got a little spinner knob, kind of like what they had in the 70s on cars.
Right.
You have to have a special thing on your license for it, but I have a spinner knob so that when I'm turning, I can safely turn. So I'm like trying to accelerate and not going, oh my God, I need to turn.
Really?
Yeah, so I've been doing that. It's 19 years.
Yeah.
Because if not, life would be so boring.
Yeah.
And I've heard that the public transportation locally, there'll be people that wait for 3 hours. They'll call and they'll say, oh, we'll be there in a half hour. And 3 hours, someone's sitting in the rain waiting for them to come get them. I'm like,
Yeah, this is why you have to.
I'm not that person.
You have to talk to people because there's, and you meet them through all the things that I've done in wrestling, and you go out and you meet people, and you just feel like they can't do. They're stuck in the situation that the hand they've been dealt. They have to play that hand, and you don't do that. There's not a lot of people out there, and this, I say to you, because you're in front of me, but you would be the perfect example to me. There's not a lot of people out there that will go out and let people know that, that's why I say part of these experiences do it, and that's why I said I'm gonna keep on you, because you have to. I'll talk to whoever, and you'll only work 65 hours a week or whatever. But there's a lot of people who go, this is the hand I've been dealt, and let me just do that. Let me just do life the way it's been dealt to me. And you're not that.
No, because I could have been that person that stayed in the house with my parents and just kind of did nothing and was there, but
you're your own woman.
I am.
Go where you want.
Do what I want.
Do what you want.
Exactly.
Saving the world, one call at a time. Do you like going back and dispatching when you can?
I do. I love that. I can jump on the 911 phones every now and then.
Yeah.
And it's just fun. It kind of reminds you of where you came from. Keeps it all in perspective that you are no better than any other person. And, I'm not above jumping when I need to. If you talk about going out outreach, at one point I'm like, I need to be like a consultant that goes and tells people about sidewalks. They've got the little ramp to go up, so we're going, and then you get to the other side and there's nothing. So you have to know how to do the, slow backwards and pop a wheelie to go back up. But it's like stuff like that. It's like, come on, people. We're in today's day and age.
In this day, right.
Yeah, but you mentioned the whole outreach to people.
Yeah.
Every time I've gone in the hospital, they've used me as a teaching case because I'm willing to educate people and explain to them, hey, you may not have dealt with a person with a spinal cord injury, and here's how you do X, Y, and Z. And, teach and educate.
That's it. That's your thing.
Yeah.
That's your thing. That's kind of cool.
So after another brief tour of April's workstation, it's time for me to go and let her get back to work. What a fantastic day at the 911 center.
I can't thank you enough. You're the best. I'll see you soon.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much. All right, Wheels. I'm ready. I've got this down. Give me a task. Give me an emergency. I'm ready to handle it.
Well, now that you mention it, we have this really important task, and chop, let's go. It's important. Come on. We got places to be. We got a big building. Let's go.
This here.
Yeah, let's go.
You want me to vacuum?
Absolutely. We got a big building. Let's go.